Hi Pokefans, we have a new episode today and this is on the Tera Raid Battle event for Emboar, which is a 7-star raid with electric Tera type. As usual, let me quickly go ahead with the moveset. It has the moves Flare Blitz, Drain Punch, Wild Charge and Head Smash, with additional moves being Bulk Up and Heat Crash. It also has the ability Reckless, which is pretty helpful for it as it powers up damaging moves. Now, in my case, I do have a couple of suggestions. Let me quickly go ahead and talk about those before we try to battle Emboar. Alright, here are the 3 Pokemons I would suggest using. The first one is Swampert with this moveset of Earthquake, Bulk Up, Screech and Liquidation. I'm going to talk more about the moves that I did choose, but the first Pokemon that did come to my mind was Swampert, since we did have its 7-star raid in the last few weeks. The next Pokemon I've seen quite a lot of people using is actually Garchomp, which is pretty powerful. Although I feel like this one would be a bit tougher than Swampert. But of course you can definitely try and use it. You might have to tweak the moveset to have Sword Dance. The last Pokemon is actually Landorus. I've seen a lot of people using this in YouTube as well. It's a pretty powerful Pokemon. You can definitely use Earthquake for this one as well. Its ability Sand Force is pretty helpful as it does power up ground type moves. Now I'm going to talk about how to solo win against Emboar. It's pretty easy with Swampert. Let's quickly get into it. I'm pretty sure you all will have Swampert, so I thought it will be much easier to use a Pokemon which you all might already have. In my case, all I did was go ahead and max the HP and attack stats. Also, you don't really have to worry about the nature. It's pretty fine as long as it's not a minus defense. In my case, it did have relaxed nature, so I'm really not worried about it. So the first 3 moves, I'm just going to go ahead and use Liquidation. This is just to go ahead and get the terrestrialization option. So you do have to go with some move. In my case, I just chose Liquidation. The other thing I would recommend is to make sure that you at least have one Intimidator in your team. And make sure that you do not have Abroville, which is the grass type Pokemon. It does have grassy terrain which will reduce Earthquake. So make sure that you do not get it. In my case, I also got lucky with Gardevoir, which I would recommend as well as it does no life too. And it can definitely help you a lot. Here, this is the 3rd turn of Liquidation. I'm pretty sure Emboar at this point will go ahead and put up its shield. It will also try to negate the stats that you might have added on yourself till now. All the buffs will be gone pretty soon. Now the next move that I will immediately use after the shield is up is Bulk Up. I definitely need to increase my attack stat as much as possible. +6 if it's definitely possible. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use Bulk Up after this. There we go, our stats have been completely cleaned out. So now we're just gonna use Bulk Up for as many turns as possible. Make sure that you do not go down 70 HP. 100 to 70 is your range. If you go to that range, then go ahead and use Earthquake. In my case, I got a bit lucky. Since I did have Gardevoir, I wasn't too worried about it. You might have to also look out for crit hits and make sure that your health once more doesn't go lower than 100. In my case, I did get a couple of crit hits. The first few turns, of course, it really didn't do any much damage. This was mainly because of my defense being increased with Bulk Up. At this point, it also negates the stats on its side, which is still pretty fine, as I do have a Staraptor which has Intimidate and it will be lowering Emboar's defense. This will definitely help me when I'm starting to use Earthquake. Now I did got crit hit right here, but that's alright. I'm still over 100, so I'm not too worried. I also got healed up as well, which is pretty good. I'm still gonna go ahead and use Bulk Up. I believe this is the 3rd Bulk Up that I'm using. I believe I'll be able to do 3 more Bulk Ups before using Earthquake, but you never know when you'll get a crit hit, so I do have to be careful. As long as Emboar uses Drain Punch, you should be still good. As for the other moves, it doesn't really use it that much. Now I did get a second crit here, which was pretty bad, but I might get healed up in this turn because Gardevoir is still up in the battlefield. Let's see if it does happen. And ooh, it didn't. So I'm just gonna go ahead and Terastallize and use Earthquake. So when you're using Earthquake after bulk up, go ahead and definitely Terastallize. That is going to max out the damage and it will completely heal up your Swampert as well. So let's quickly do that. As far as the other team members go, other than the Intimidation Pokemons, I think other Pokemons are still fine. They really do not have to do any damage since you'll be the one doing the main work. Let's see how much the Earthquake does. And that was a massive damage. Pretty good. And we also got lucky with the crit hit. If it's not crit hit, I think there would be still a bit more health over there. I'm not worried as we do have 5 bulk up at this point and I just need 1 more. So I'm quickly gonna go ahead and do another bulk up. Another thing I would recommend is go ahead and do all of your bulk up before you remove the shield for Emboar. Because once you do remove the shield, I think you should focus more on using Earthquake. Anyway, I think I'm in +6. We can definitely go ahead and check it at this point. I'm really not worried about Emboar. That's because of the Staraptor. Since it is dying constantly and it's using Intimidate every single time it revives, Emboar is at -2 defense. The only time this would be important is when you're trying to use Screech. But for now, I'm going for a second Earthquake. This time we are able to break the shield. This is pretty good. At this point, you can directly go ahead and use Earthquake. Or in my case, I decided to add Screech move into the moveset. Just to go ahead and use a couple of turns of Screech and then use 1 Earthquake to defeat it. This is the first turn for Screech. I'm going to do 1 more. I'm pretty sure I don't need a third one considering that it was already in -2 defense. Now, as far as I've seen, it does like to use 2 moves for each turn and 1 move for breaking the shield. So at this point, you do have to be very careful and make sure that you do not get too much crit hits. After all, keep the Swampert above 100 health. Since I have used 2 Screeches at this point, I think it's time for me to just use Earthquake and see how much damage we do. Alright, here we go. And we one-shot it. Alright, that was from half health and this is mainly because of its defense being at -12. This is definitely pretty easy. I mean, I was at least expecting a bit more challenge from Emboar, but that's alright. So you can definitely easily defeat Emboar with Swampert. I would definitely recommend this for everyone who's watching my video as well. But if you did decide to use another Pokemon, let me know down in the comment section. I'm pretty interested in it. I'm also pretty sure that other people would have posted videos with Swampert as well. I haven't really checked it yet. I'll go ahead and check that out as well. I'm pretty sure that there are other moves that you can use instead of the ones I used here to go ahead and defeat Emboar. As for the rewards, we do get Sweet and Spicy Herba Mystica, which is pretty nice. And other items are the usual ones. I'm pretty happy that I got 5 HP, which is something I really need to collect. Anyway, this was a pretty fun battle. I was able to defeat it in literally the first 10 minutes. I did not even try out the other Pokemons I had. Initially, I wanted to try out Garchomp, which I have seen a lot of YouTubers using. But I think Swampert is better. Anyway, here is Emboar and its moveset. I've actually never seen it use Wild Charge. Maybe if you do use a Water type Pokemon, it might go for it. But since Swampert is part Earth type Pokemon, so I guess it didn't really use that. I also really like Emboar's sprite in this game as well. Let me quickly show that right here. It looks really amazing. There we go. Here it is. Pretty cool. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this short episode and found it a bit helpful as well. If you did, please put a like, and if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing to my channel as it really helps me a lot. If you'd like to support me more in other ways, check out the links for Patreon and Ko-fi down in my description. But I'll see you all in the next one.